The person who holds your heart is caught in a storm of emotions so intense that they can barely breathe when they imagine a world without you in it. The mere thought of you walking away permanently, of closing that door and never looking back, fills them with a terror so profound that it reaches into the deepest corners of their soul. This fear is not something they can easily articulate or confess, because admitting it would mean acknowledging just how vulnerable they have become, just how much power you hold over their sense of peace and stability. In their mind's eye, they see themselves standing precariously on the edge of a towering cliff, watching helplessly as you drift further and further away from them, like a ship disappearing beyond the horizon. With each passing day of silence, with each moment that you choose yourself over the chaos they once brought into your life, they feel the distance growing wider and more insurmountable. The fear of being permanently left behind, of becoming nothing more than a fading memory in your story, gnaws at them relentlessly. It sits in their chest like a heavy stone, making it difficult to find rest or peace. They desperately want you to wait for them, to hold on just a little bit longer, because somewhere in the depths of their heart they understand a fundamental truth about your nature. With you, it has always been all or nothing. There is no middle ground, no lukewarm half measures, no comfortable space for uncertainty or ambivalence. You have made this abundantly clear through your actions, through your silence, and through the unwavering strength of your boundaries. You will never accept a half-hearted offer. You will never tolerate being treated as a mere option or a backup plan. You will never settle for breadcrumbs when you deserve the whole feast. This realization has struck them with the force of lightning, forcing them to confront aspects of themselves they have spent years running from. The parts that are afraid of commitment, the parts that are terrified of being truly seen, the parts that have hidden behind walls of self-protection and emotional unavailability. The transformation that has taken place within you has not gone unnoticed by anyone, least of all by them. Everyone in your orbit can see the profound change that has occurred. The confidence that now emanates from your presence is undeniable. The calm-centeredness that has replaced the anxiety and uncertainty is palpable. The peace that radiates from your being speaks of someone who has done the deep inner work and emerged victorious on the other side. You carry yourself with a completely different energy now, moving through the world with a kind of self-assurance that requires no external validation or applause. It speaks volumes without you having to utter a single word. It is as if you have finally reclaimed the power that you gave away for far too long, the power that you scattered among people who were never worthy stewards of your heart. Your person sees this transformation clearly, and it produces a complex mixture of emotions within them. On one hand, your growth inspires them and shows them what is possible when someone commits fully to their own healing and evolution. On the other hand, it unsettles them deeply because they understand that this new version of you will not tolerate the old patterns, the old games, the old ways of relating that once defined your connection. They can see that you have grown extraordinarily comfortable in your own skin, that you no longer depend on anyone's validation to feel worthy, loved, or complete. That kind of authentic strength is magnetic in ways that superficial attraction could never be. Yet it also serves as a stark reminder of how easily they could lose you forever if they do not rise to meet you at the level where you now stand. And that possibility haunts them in the quiet moments, in the spaces between distraction and busyness, when they are alone with their thoughts and their regrets. Right now, whether you fully realize it or not, the ball is completely in your court. You hold the power in this dynamic. You are the one who decides what comes next. Every moment that you resist their pull, every day that you choose peace over the familiar chaos of your past connection, you become more desirable and more valuable in their eyes. The more distance you create between yourself and the old patterns, the greater the chase becomes for them. They find themselves craving your energy with an intensity that surprises even them. They long for your presence, your warmth, your unique way of seeing the world and seeing them. But they understand now, perhaps for the first time, that they cannot approach you the way they did before. The old tactics will not work anymore. The casual indifference, the emotional unavailability, the taking you for granted while expecting you to always be there waiting. None of that will suffice now. They understand that if they truly want a place in your life again, it has to be authentic and real. No games, no uncertainty, no temporary fixes or quick solutions. They want to make you happy, but not just for a fleeting moment or a brief reunion. They want to make you happy in a way that endures, in a way that honors the depth of what you have always deserved. Deep in their soul, they are beginning to recognize that they want to give you the stability and devotion that should have been yours from the very beginning. They are finally starting to realize that real love, the kind of love that weathers storms and stands the test of time, requires commitment, consistency, and courage. These are all qualities they once struggled to embody, qualities they were afraid to cultivate within themselves because doing so would require vulnerability and emotional honesty. Meanwhile, you have reached a profound point in your journey where you are manifesting the courage to walk alone if necessary. You have learned through hard-won experience that solitude is not a punishment to be feared or avoided. Rather, it is a form of freedom, a sacred space where you can hear your own voice clearly without the noise and interference of others. Like a lone wolf moving through the wilderness with purpose and grace, you have discovered that standing alone does not diminish your strength. In fact, it amplifies it in ways you never imagined possible. You have endured more than enough heartbreak, disappointment, and emotional exhaustion to understand with crystal clarity that you can no longer pour from a cup that is empty. You have given and given until there was nothing left, and you have finally learned that this pattern is unsustainable and harmful. You are done begging to be understood in the ways you deserve. You are done pleading for proper love and respect. You have closed that chapter of your life with finality and grace. Now your peace has become your highest priority, your non-negotiable foundation upon which everything else must be built. Your silence has become your loudest and most powerful statement. It communicates what words never could. It draws a clear boundary and declares your worth without apology or explanation. This silence is not born of bitterness or revenge, but of self-respect and self-love. Yet on the other side of this silence, your person is anything but peaceful. In fact, your silence has become their biggest source of discomfort and internal turmoil. They think about you constantly and obsessively. From the moment consciousness returns to them in the morning until they finally surrender to sleep at night, you occupy their thoughts. And even in their dreams, your presence lingers like a ghost they cannot escape or exorcise. The lack of communication between you is driving them to the edge of their sanity. They replay old conversations in their mind like worn-out recordings, analyzing every word, every tone, every subtle shift in energy. They reread old messages until they have memorized every line, searching for clues about what went wrong and what they could have done differently. They torture themselves with questions that have no easy answers. It is as if your absence has created an emotional void within them that nothing else can fill, no matter how desperately they try to distract themselves or move on. Every attempt to replace you only highlights your irreplaceability. Still, despite this pain and confusion, they are determined to come back to you. But this time, they want to approach things differently. They are trying to gather the courage to reach out without allowing their desperation to show through. They want to appear calm, gentle, and mature when they finally make contact. They want to present themselves as the kind of person who has genuinely grown and evolved, not as someone who is simply returning because they miss the comfort and security you provided. They are acutely aware that you can sense weakness, manipulation, and insincerity from a mile away. Your intuition has always been sharp, and they know they cannot fool you with empty words or hollow promises. So they are treading carefully, taking their time, hoping that when they do eventually show up in your life again, you will see genuine sincerity in their eyes rather than fear, desperation, or the same old patterns disguised in new packaging. They understand that they will only get one more chance, if they are fortunate enough to get one at all, and they cannot afford to waste it. Meanwhile, you continue to move forward with grace and intention, embracing a beautiful season of emotional fulfillment and genuine abundance. You are learning day by day that true happiness does not depend on another person's presence, approval, or validation. You are actively creating it for yourself through conscious choices, through self-love practices, through the ongoing work of healing the wounded parts of yourself that once made you settle for less than you deserved. You are choosing to honor your boundaries with fierce consistency, even when it is difficult, even when old patterns try to pull you back. You have learned to give yourself the kind of care, attention, and affection that you once waited patiently for others to provide. You have become your own source of love and comfort. And in doing so, you have become a powerful magnet for all the good things the universe has been patiently waiting to give you. Peace, stability, authentic love, and true abundance are now flowing toward you because you have finally made space for them by releasing what was never meant for you. Your person cannot help but admire the strength you have cultivated. They have watched you rise from situations and circumstances that would have completely broken others. After facing chaos, heartbreak, and deep sadness that would have destroyed lesser souls, you are still standing. Not just surviving, but thriving. Stronger, wiser, more radiant, and more whole than you have ever been. This resilience is what makes you truly unforgettable in their eyes and in the eyes of everyone who knows your story. Even though they may have once underestimated your strength or taken your presence for granted, they now see with perfect clarity that you were never the weak one in this dynamic. You were the one holding everything together with grace and determination while they were still trying to find themselves, still running from their fears, still hiding behind walls of self-protection. You were the anchor while they were adrift. Now, as you continue to evolve and expand into the fullest expression of yourself, they find themselves standing at a profound crossroads. They are torn between the overwhelming desire to come back into your life and the paralyzing fear that they may no longer be enough for the person you have become. They worry that the gap between who they are and who you now are may be too wide to bridge. They wonder if they have the capacity to meet you at this new level of consciousness and self-awareness. Your silence has become their mirror, reflecting back to them the uncomfortable truth about who they really are and who they still need to become. It forces them to face their shortcomings, their patterns, their fears, and their resistance to growth. Whether or not you ultimately choose to give them another chance, one truth remains crystal clear and undeniable. You have already won. You have claimed victory in the most important battle, the one within yourself. You have found your power after it was scattered and lost for so long. You have reclaimed your peace after chaos tried to steal it from you. You have discovered your authentic voice after years of silencing yourself to make others comfortable. You have become someone who no longer chases love desperately or begs for scraps of affection from people who do not value what you bring. Instead, you attract love effortlessly simply by being who you are, by honoring yourself, by maintaining your boundaries, and by refusing to settle. And that transformation, more than anything else, is what simultaneously terrifies and fascinates them. The realization that the person they almost lost forever, the person they took for granted and pushed away, has become the person they can never forget. The person who now haunts their thoughts and dreams. The person who showed them what real love looks like and what they threw away. Your absence has taught them more than your presence ever could, and that lesson will stay with them for the rest of their life, regardless of what the future holds for the two of you.